She was told her voice was too big for her country, but nobody warned the world's harshest music critic that a tiny woman with a broken past was about to walk onto his stage and deliver a Whitney Houston note so pure, so powerful, that it would physically stop the show and force a standing ovation from a man who has made his career on being unimpressed. If you love moments that give you goosebumps and remind you why music matters, hit that subscribe button right now because we bring you the stories that the mainstream won't tell you. The atmosphere inside the auditorium was electric but familiar, the kind of charged silence that precedes thousands of auditions. The judges sat behind their massive desk, the infamous one where dreams had either been born or brutally crushed for over a decade. In the center sat Marcus Sterling, the notoriously difficult British music mogul known for his brutal honesty and his permanent expression of mild boredom. He had seen it all. He had discovered global superstars, and he had dismissed thousands of hopefuls with a single raised eyebrow. To his left sat Lena Vance, a pop diva known for her emotional sensitivity, and to his right sat DJ K-Rock, the street-smart producer who could spot a hit from a mile away. The stage manager called out the next contestant number, and a small woman walked out. She looked nervous, clutching the microphone stand as if it were the only thing keeping her upright. She introduced herself as Maya Flores, a 32-year-old singer from the Philippines. She mentioned that she had been singing in hotel lobbies and comedy bars in Dubai for the last 10 years, sending money home to support her family. She adjusted the mic, glanced back at the massive screen that displayed her name, and nodded to the band. As the opening piano keys of Whitney Houston's "I Have Nothing" filled the room, Marcus Sterling audibly sighed and leaned back in his chair. He picked up a pen and started tapping it against the desk. This song. It was the karaoke killer, the song that had ended more auditions than any other. He had heard it 1,000 times, and almost every single time, it was a disaster. Amateurs thought they could hit those notes, and they always failed. But then Maya opened her mouth. The first verse was soft, controlled, almost fragile. It was so quiet that the audience had to lean forward. Marcus stopped tapping his pen. He put it down slowly. Maya was not just singing the notes, she was telling a story. You could hear the exhaustion of a decade of late nights in foreign cities. You could hear the longing for a home she rarely saw. You could hear the heartbreak of chasing a dream that always seemed just out of reach. As the song built, so did Maya. Her voice grew, filling the space not with volume alone, but with a rich, soulful texture that seemed to wrap around every person in the room. When she approached the first big chorus, the famous belt on, "Don't Make Me Close One More Door," she didn't just sing it. She unleashed it. The note was pure, piercing, and absolutely effortless. It was the kind of sound that makes the hair on your arm stand up. DJ K-Rock's jaw dropped. He leaned forward, his eyes wide, looking at Lena Vance as if to ask, "Is this really happening?" Lena had her hand over her mouth, tears already welling in her eyes. She was a singer herself, she knew the technical difficulty of what was happening on stage, but more than that, she felt the emotion. But Marcus Sterling remained still. He was watching, analyzing. He wasn't standing yet. He wasn't smiling. He was waiting for the crack, the break, the moment she would run out of air. He had seen 1,000 promising starts collapse in the final bridge. Maya hit the bridge. "Don't make me close one more door. I don't wanna hurt anymore." Her voice dropped to a whisper again, so intimate it felt like she was singing to one person, not a hall of thousands. Then came the key change, the moment where Whitney herself set the bar in the stratosphere. Maya closed her eyes. She gripped the mic stand so hard her knuckles turned white. And she went for it. The note rang out, a high, screaming belt of pure, desperate emotion. It wasn't just a vocal exercise, it was a release. It was 10 years of singing to drunk tourists in a bar. It was the guilt of leaving her mother. It was every door that had been slammed in her face. She held the note, and held it, her voice never wavering, never sharpening, staying perfectly, impossibly in tune. The audience erupted before the song was even over. People were on their feet, screaming. Confetti cannons fired accidentally, showering the stage in a storm of gold paper. Maya finished the song, breathing heavily, looking almost confused by the chaos she had caused. Lena Vance was crying openly, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. DJ K-Rock was on his feet, applauding furiously. But all eyes turned to Marcus Sterling. He was still sitting. He was staring at Maya with an expression nobody could read. The audience began to chant her name. Maya, Maya, Maya. Slowly, deliberately, Marcus stood up. He didn't clap immediately. He just looked at her. The room fell silent again, waiting for the verdict. Was it good enough for him? Marcus finally spoke. His voice was quiet, but the microphone picked it up. I have a question for you, Maya. He paused. Why in the world have you been singing in hotel lobbies for 10 years? Maya looked down, embarrassed. I had to feed my family, sir. Marcus nodded slowly. Then he said the words that would go viral within hours. That was not just a performance. That was a masterclass. I have sat in this chair for 20 years. I have heard that song 5,000 times. And I have never, ever heard anyone sing it like that. You took the most overdone song in competition history, and you made it feel like it was written for you yesterday. He finally started to clap, and the building shook with the applause that followed. Lena Vance rushed to the stage to hug Maya. DJ K-Rock was already talking about how her voice was way too big for this show. But as the celebration continued backstage, a producer pulled Maya aside. There was a problem. A serious problem. It turned out that Maya's visa, the temporary permit that allowed her to be in the country for the audition, was set to expire in 48 hours. Because she had worked in Dubai for so long, and because of complex international travel rules, she was not eligible for the automatic extension given to other contestants. The show's lawyers reviewed the paperwork. Unless she could obtain an emergency visa, something that usually took months, she would be forced to leave the competition immediately. The news hit Maya like a physical blow. After 10 years of waiting, after the performance of a lifetime, she was being told she might have to go home. She sat in a cold dressing room, the sound of the cheering crowd now just a distant rumble, and she wept. Her dream was slipping away, not because she wasn't good enough, but because of a stamp in a passport. The producers were sympathetic, but their hands were tied by broadcast regulations. They couldn't keep her if she wasn't legally allowed to be in the country. They prepared a statement, ready to announce that the most talked about audition of the season would not be continuing. But then, a twist. Someone backstage had been recording everything on their phone. Not Maya's performance, but the aftermath. They captured the moment Maya was told about the visa, her face crumbling, the producers looking helpless. They captured Maya calling her mother in the Philippines, speaking in Tagalog, trying to explain through tears that she might be coming home. The person who recorded it was a stagehand, a Filipino immigrant himself. He knew this story. He knew how many times talented people from his homeland had been stopped by paperwork. He posted the video on social media with a simple caption. They said her voice was too big for the Philippines. Now the rules might send her back. The video exploded. Within hours, it had millions of views. The public outcry was immediate and furious. Fans started a petition demanding that the show and the government find a way to keep Maya. They pointed out the cruel irony. A show that celebrated talent was about to deport the most talented person to appear on it in years. The pressure became immense. News outlets picked up the story. It became a political talking point. The network that aired the show started getting calls from angry viewers threatening to boycott. Meanwhile, Marcus Sterling was in a meeting with the network heads. He was not happy. He had found a superstar, and he was not about to let a paperwork issue ruin it. He reportedly slammed his hand on the table and said, "Fix it. I don't care how. Fix it." The network's legal team worked through the night. They contacted immigration lawyers, they called in favors, they pulled every string they could find. And finally, early the next morning, they got a temporary reprieve. A special exemption was granted, allowing Maya to stay for the duration of the competition on the condition that she apply for a permanent visa immediately and not leave the country until it was processed. Maya was called back to the auditorium. The judges were there, waiting for her. When she walked in, looking exhausted and scared, Marcus Sterling stood up and walked towards her. He didn't say much. He just extended his hand. "Welcome to the big leagues," he said. "Now, let's go win this thing." Maya went on to become the front runner of the competition. Every performance was an event. But that first audition, the one that almost never was, remained the defining moment. It wasn't just about the song. It was about a woman who carried the weight of her family's hopes on her shoulders, who faced a system designed to keep her out, and who sang with a power that tore through every barrier. It was the voice that was too big for one country, but just big enough to change the world. Before we go, we want to hear from you. This story traveled across the globe. From the bright lights of the big city to the quiet towns in the heartland, talent like Maya's connects us all. So please, take a second and comment below. Tell us which part of the country you are watching from today. We want to see the map and know where our family is. Drop your city and state in the comments right now.